Yo, family. Okay, so the first part of the video, we were just talking about a little of the nomenclature of the upper part of the back, of which is our focus for today. So if you missed that video, go back and check it out just so you know the areas that we'll be working on today. And I'm going to go into showing y'all some techniques to massage out those areas of the body. Yes. Yes. So, as I drop you down, so y'all can see me a little bit better for the work we're going to be doing today, I want to bring up a couple of ideas so that y'all get the hint of working with the upper part of the back. One is like from the lower part to the upper, from the legs up to the lumbar spine, you notice that a lot of the musculature or the direction of the muscle fibers tend to be going more longitudinally. So when working with the legs and the lower part of the back, doing such movements as these help to stretch out the muscles a lot more. Yeah. And it's very common because all of these muscles are moving in this line of fashion. But when you start getting to the upper back area and the upper parts of the body, you notice that the musculature or the muscles start to move laterally. So when we start to do our foam rolling for the upper back, we have to start thinking of stretching or moving the foam roller or whatever tools we're using in the lateral direction. So now we're going to start seeing more side to side movements here and more detailed muscular work, because on top of that, like, we're dealing with muscles that are more intricate in some respects than the lower part of the body, because the lower part of the body is our strength. So the muscles are broad, they're big, they're bold, you know. But as you move up the upper part of the body, they start to become a little more detailed and intricate and, should I say, defined, if you will. So a lot of we'll be doing a lot more resting positions and resting in places than we would as we were working with the lower part of our body, which is kind of rolling out a lot of those areas. So to begin, let me start off with your general roll of the back. Just kind of checking in to see what's going on, where our tensions are, how it's feeling in our backs, and stuff like that. You know, turning to the side a little bit to see if we could find some tensions and work out some of those. You know, not too big of a deal. Some good ways to work with the latissimus dorsi, especially knowing that it connects to the upper part of the arm here. We can turn to the side and use our side body motion. You can see my legs a little bit, and just kind of use our arms and our legs to massage foam roll the upper part of the latissimus dorsi here within the shoulder. So you can slide down here, lay your arm out, so you can get some of those arm areas of the latissimus dorsi and some of the side body parts of the latissimus dorsi here too. And you would do that for the both sides, of course, depending on where your pains are for the latissimus dorsi. Yeah. There's another thought when working with the upper part of the thoracic spine, is when we think about the curvature of the spine, right? Of course, our spine kind of moves into an S. Like, you see, bring up this map again. Well, you can't really see. Oh yeah, actually you can. From the cervical, it goes in this way. The thoracic moves out this way in the curvature, and the lumbar moves in this way. So there's like this snaking pattern of the spine, and the thoracic is set into a C. Its curvature is concave. Is that right? Concave. So when we think about
opening up and stretching the thoracic spine, to stretch that out to get some openness within or in between the vertebrae. We want to lay our back over our foam roller to widen out or to straighten out our thoracic spine. And there's two things that goes on with this, right? Like, of course, one, we are like elongating the vertebrae in the thoracic spine, but at the same time, we have to remember that our ribs are mostly attached to the thoracic spine. So as we straighten out the thoracic spine, we open up our ribs, right? So with that, knowing the organs that reside within this area, the lungs, the heart, the liver, and the stomach are like kind of all sitting within this cavity of the thoracic spine. We're opening up some space for those organs to breathe as well. So sitting in a Savasana, like stance, and just laying our thoracic spine over our foam roller, finding a good spot to open the rib cage. You'll notice that as you're laying there, it feels as if there is a lot of oxygen that can move into your body. And that's because that rib cage is open and it's allowing a lot of space in that area. And it feels really good just to kind of lay in there and just kind of keep it open, have some space, could wiggle around a little bit, just kind of get some openness for our organs that are engaged inside of our ribs. You notice that you have to change your breathing pattern a little bit to appreciate it. That's another good thing. Also, while we're still looking at this from the lateral perspective, if we want to generate some more pressure on our upper back area, we can use what we call in the yoga bridge pose. When you find a good location of the back, you can lift up your pelvis to draw some more pressure on certain areas of the body. And I'll show you how that works with other tools, and when we turn this to the side. Now, we kind of open up our thoracic spine a little bit. We can get ourselves a little more accustomed. We can start to move laterally a little bit and start to work more with the rhomboids and the outer parts of the latissimus and trap muscles. So moving side to side is a little more difficult than it is just the rolling up and down. The way I tend to usually do so is just by using my hips to wiggle the foam roller from left to right, just kind of catch up on the rhomboids area and kind of soften it up a little bit for the more deeper work I'm planning to do with the ball and the deep foam roller. So, in stages, because of course the ball is like the most detailed, to get into some of these more intricate areas, up and down the longitudinal thoracic spine, just kind of again laying into like on the outer part of the spine, the rectus spinae. The foam roller here is actually sitting on the top part of my trapezoid, so I get the means to dig into the upper part of my trap. And once I find a good location where I can feel like the rhomboids or the trapezoids in a position to apply pressure, as soon as I find a good location, I can just lift up the spine, lift up the pelvis to drive some more force into my back.
Along with that, I can also use my arm to detail some areas. Ah, there you go. That's a good one. To catch some more intricate areas and pull some tension out wherever my arm is. Because right now I'm just kind of taking what it feels like, anyway, is I'm moving my rhomboids over the top of the foam roller. So it's just kind of like kneading the rhomboids out right now just by holding this position. You know, you don't necessarily, again, have to move the foam roller. You can move yourself over the foam roller.
Yeah. Then, if you really wants to get into some more intricate spots of the upper back, like say up by the up here in the trap area, which usually a lot of people tend to generate some tension, of course, sitting down, doing computer work, stuff like that. Using the ball is more of like a positioning technique. There's not much rolling involved. But once you find the locations that work well or that are carrying the tension, I just threw the tennis ball all the way back there. You can sink. Bam. Nope. I can't find it. Bam. There you go. You can lay into the ball. Oh man. Because right now the ball is on the same rhomboid area. And you can, again, allow it to sink in. Using the same techniques, drawing your arms around to see where you find most tension. For me, in these areas, I tend to feel the radiating sensations going up the cervical spine and like over and towards my traps, even though I am sitting on the rhomboid area of my arm. So again, twisting around, seeing where it's at. You can use your neck in this as well and turning into different areas of the upper back with the rhomboids. And max out that way. So, just a couple of thoughts when it comes to rolling out the upper back. As I said, like once you like do the general roll and possibly like kind of laying into the thoracic spine and kind of opening up the rib cage, the majority of the work for like working into the upper backs in the trap area is going to be positioning and deep tissue work, holding say the deep foam roller or the general foam roller over these areas and allowing your arms to, in some respects, massage over the foam roller or the balls or whatever tool that you're using at the time. With that, you know, once you start to get a little deeper into the body, especially using the balls, I would say be a little careful because, of course, you can go too deep or go too far with it. So just understanding where your threshold of pain is very important when you start to work with balls because like the same techniques that I was just going over with this tennis ball, you can also use for something, say like a weight, and because this is more stationary and it's a lot easier to position the weight, you can just set it down on the ground and do the same things I was doing with this ball. But because of how dense this is, you know, it's going to determine whether or not you will use something that's that penetrating in the beginning of your work of working out the upper back. So we are going to a close. That was the upper back area. Stay tuned. I'll still be working with the say next coming up to the cervical in the head. So yeah, I'm going to close by saying this is Corey, your friendly neighborhood massage technician, bringing your life love and liberation. And this is Healing Tones, where I come on here and bless you with some words, poetry, and prose with exercises to help ya.
Love ya.